Congressman Grayson, thank you for joining us. I want to start with the hedge fund investigation, and I have two questions about this. First off, if there was something to this, why didn't the Ethics Committee form an investigative subcommittee? And then if there was nothing to it, why didn't they just clear you and conclude the investigation? It seems to be left in this kind of limbo, which is doing you no favors. What's going on here?
Well, what's going on is bureaucracy. It's that simple. As you point out, there was no investigative subcommittee formed by the Committee on Ethics. Every single time that they've actually punished a member of Congress officially for any kind of wrongdoing, of any kind, they've always formed an investigative subcommittee first. But it's also true that they often wait until after the election to dismiss these charges.
Why?
And well, bureaucracy. They just duck the question, and they find it's easier that way, that they can't be accused of favoritism one way or the other. But if you recall in the gubernatorial election last time, Charlie Crist had 9 ethics complaints filed against him. Governor Scott has 12 ethics complaints filed against him. Every single one was dismissed after the election. And that's what you'll be seeing here.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, if you had a do-over as it relates to anything with that family hedge fund, what would you have changed, if anything?
Nothing. I didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
I mean, it's
okay,
that simple. I just didn't.
If you did nothing wrong,
Right.
It still caused a great distraction. You're a wealthy man. You don't need the headaches and the distraction. You Google your name, that's going to pop up 20 times over. Why not just not have done it in the first place?
Because I invest with my children. You know who my partners are? Sky Grayson, Star Grayson, Sage Grayson, Storm Grayson, and Sohn Grayson. We invest together as a family. That's all we're talking about here. There's nothing wrong with that.
Now, to the claims that you used your official House resources to do some campaign-related interviews, I'm thinking of the Huffington Post Live, and then there was one other with a radio host thereafter. Was that a mistake?
No. No, I mean, again, you have to understand, I'm doing an interview, just like this interview here. Yes. We arranged the interview for unofficial business. We were talking about a particular issue. It happened to be an issue that was in the newspaper at the time. In the middle of the interview, they start asking me political questions.
That's true. That's true.
How could you ever shut down, and nobody shut down the interviews in the middle saying, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you about that. That's just not the way it works. They're holding me to a standard that nobody else is held to. In fact, they're not holding me to the standard because there's no investigative subcommittee.
Why do you think President Obama and Vice President Biden prefer a former Republican who supported Mitt Romney to you?
Because he is a callow tool. That's why. I've done wonderful things for my district and the people of Florida. I am, according to Slate magazine, the most effective member of Congress. I've passed 12 amendments on the floor of the House in the last 2 weeks. He's passed 7 in the past 3 years. I am the most effective member of Congress. I've passed 26 bills through the House, through the Senate, and signed into law by the President. And that's not what they want. They want somebody who will take orders. The power structure in Washington, D.C. wants somebody who's obedient. And I'm sorry, but I am not that person.
The President has also said we need to work our way back to civility, and you have said some things that are not civil on more than one occasion. Do you think that may be working against you in terms of the lack of support you're getting from Democratic leadership?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it at all. You know, you can look around the country. The Democratic leadership put Donna Edwards, who would have been the second black woman ever to serve in the Senate, in the trash can because she's got a mind of her own. They took Joe Sestak, a 3-star admiral, the highest-ranking Democrat, the highest-ranking military official ever to serve in Congress, and they put him in the garbage can because he's not obedient either. They want people who will simply do what they're told and collect that cash from Wall Street and leave it at that. In my case, I'm different. I'm the only member of Congress, the only one who's raised most of his campaign funds from small donors. They fear that. They have a system where they go and they reach into the pockets of the billionaires and the multinational corporations and they pay for their campaigns that way. I have broken the mold. They don't want that.
Since polling has shown, though, that more Americans prefer civility to digging in and incivility in politics, is that something that gives you some pause and think maybe you need to be a bit more civil, tone it down?
Listen, I've passed 60 amendments in the floor of the House in the past 3 years alone. 60. Every single one of them required Republican votes. Every single one. You can go look on C-SPAN. You know, C-SPAN broadcasts the proceedings of the House. You'll find that I'm the only one who actually bothers to go to the other side, talk to them about my bills, and get their support. Go find me some other Democrat who does that. Isn't that what really matters if you're talking about bipartisanship, the ability to work together to get good things done? I passed a bill to extend a Florida tax break that's worth $1 billion. I had to work 11 months to get that done. Talk to Democrats, talk to Republicans, get that done. That's not a question of civility or incivility. That's a question of working hard, paying attention, and getting good things done for people. That's what people really want.
Do we need more compromise in Washington, or do we need more federal lawmakers who dig in and stick to their principles?
Oh, well, I mean, my principles are very important. I mean, I'm a champion for justice, equality, and peace. I want to see a higher minimum wage. I want to see seniors getting a raise. They were cheated out of a raise this year. Seniors deserve a raise. I want to see Medicare cover eyes, ears, and teeth. I want to see universal health care. I want to make sure that people know that they can go to college, public college, even if they can't afford to pay tuition. These are basic fundamental principles of being a progressive, being a liberal, if you will, okay? Those are my principles. That's what I fight for. The interesting thing about it is that I fight and I win. How much have you seen that in the last few years in Washington, D.C., where progressive can actually get good things done? I could give you countless examples. I mentioned over 60 amendments, every one of which I needed Republican votes to pass. 26 Grayson bills are now the law of the land. You know how many members of Congress have passed the past 3 years? Any idea? What's the average?
What's the average? Tell me.
Zero.
Yeah.
It's zero. Most members of Congress have not passed a single bill. I've passed 26 of them. The gentleman who's running against me in the Democratic primary hasn't even gotten one of his bills out of the House, much less out of the House through the Senate and signed into law by the President of the United States. That's what people really want. They want someone who has action, who can deliver, and make their lives better.
Give me an example of a Republican who you enjoy working with and you've been able to compromise with.
Well, honestly, I mean, he may not want to hear this once the voters hear it, but the fact is that Ted Yoho is somebody who I really enjoy. We work together well on many issues. I've co-sponsored some of his bills. He's co-sponsored some of mine. Another example of that is Congressman Massey from Kentucky. Congressman Massey and I are working together to eliminate the double taxation of Social Security benefits. You pay taxes when you pay into the system. You pay taxes again when the system pays out to you. He's a Republican. He recognizes that's wrong. I'm a Democrat. I recognize that that's wrong. Hopefully we can work together and pass the Massey-Grayson bill to go along with the Grayson Seniors Deserve a Raise Act and the Grayson Seniors Have Eyes, Ears, and Teeth Act and make the lives of seniors better.
Now, Social Security is a big issue, a driving issue in your campaign. Tell us how you increase Social Security benefits while keeping the system solvent.
Well, it's actually not that complicated. I've introduced bills that independently have been analyzed, and it does exactly that. First of all, you have to give seniors the cost of living increase that they were cheated out of this year. It's a 2.9% increase. I went to the Congressional Research Service and I asked a simple question. If you had calculated it correctly, based upon how seniors spend their money, what would it be? And they came back and they said 2.9%, an extra $400 a year for seniors. So the Seniors Deserve a Raise Act gives that. It makes up for the loss that they took this year, the hit that they took because gasoline prices fell last year when many seniors don't even drive, or they drive a small amount. Now, in addition to that, a separate bill called the Scrap the Cap Act is the only bill that's been evaluated to actually demonstrably solve the problem of Social Security financing for all time. And it does it in a very simple way. It says a dollar's a dollar. You know, right now there's a cap, and if you make more than $118,000 a year, you are permanently excluded for the rest of the year from having to pay any Social Security taxes. So LeBron James, for instance, is done paying his Social Security taxes at the beginning of the second quarter of the first game of the season. The remainder of the game, he pays nothing. The next 81 games, he pays nothing. The playoffs, he pays nothing. That doesn't make any sense. If you have everybody pay an equal fair share of their income to Social Security, it's solvent forever and ever. And we can give seniors the raise that they deserve, and we can extend Medicare to cover your eyes, ears, and teeth.
Did you ever ask President Obama for his endorsement?
No.
Why not?
Look, the president can decide whatever he wants to decide. He's frankly, you know, part of.
But that's what campaigning is, asking people for their support and their votes. Why not start at the top?
The president doesn't vote in Florida. I mean, you know, I can show you poll after poll that indicates that I'm the lead among the people who actually choose our candidate. That's the Democratic voters. They want an action figure. They want somebody who's going to improve Social Security, improve Medicare, increase wages, increase benefits, and so on. The president doesn't really know much about what's going on in Florida, nor should he. He's got to take care of the whole country and in some respects the entire world. He doesn't understand what the local circumstances are.
Final question. You've received a lot of criticism over the years relating to your tone, which can be aggressive and combative at times. Same question in hindsight. Is there anything you would change in any way to tone down any of the things that you've said or done?
I honestly don't know where this comes from. Look, I think I've been pretty nice with you.
You have.
Honestly, I think what's happened is that they can't beat me on the issues, okay? My opponents cannot even hope to beat me on the issues. They understand that I fought for progressive values and won over and over and over again. So they indulge in what Hillary Clinton has called the politics of personal destruction. You know, they say Hillary Clinton killed Vince Foster, that she had a lesbian relationship with Janet Reno. There's this Whitewater thing that's out there. There's this email thing that's out there, and on and on and on, because they can't talk about the issues. Well, it's the same thing with me. They've got nothing against me on the issues because I've been such a powerful champion for justice, equality, and peace. So instead they make up this thing about my tone, my tone, my tone. Look, for God's sake, in my district, the average wage is $12 an hour. I think that there are economic issues, struggles that people face in everyday life, the same way that I did when I was cleaning toilets growing up, and I worked as a night watchman on the midnight shift. That goes a lot more important, that's a lot more important to voters than some questions about someone's tone raised by one's political enemies.
Congressman Grayson, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.